Welcome to a Celtic State of Mind. I'm John Dykes, and today for the post-match reaction I'm joined by Colin Watt, Danny Kelly and Lawrence Connolly. We've just won 4-1 at Fir Park. I'm going to go over to Colin first and foremost. Colin, second half, what was your thoughts?
Well, more of the same really from us, getting these extra goals. Bit kind of shaky again with the goal that they scored. Declan Gallagher getting the header. I think Beaton could have done a wee bit better. Also, Bain could certainly have done better in the goal. What can we say though? We walk away. It's a comfortable victory. Something we've needed for a long time is getting a comfortable victory. Still some aspects of the performance that we could certainly improve upon, but 3 points in the bag. Lawrence, Danny, what was your main takeaway from today?
Elyounoussi, man. He's just unbelievable. To come out like that, and I'm sure maybe Sutton's comments maybe put a fire under him. Well, I can't be sure of that, but if that is the case, then fair enough. But that was unreal from him. Absolute stellar performance.
Do you think he got his phone out just to see what everyone was saying after the game?
Absolutely.
Listen, I think second half, I don't think that's as comfortable as the scoreline looks. The first 20-25 minutes, Motherwell, I would say, had the better of the second half. I don't think we got our subs right. We were weak through the middle, whether it's Brown or Calmack or the centre halves. It was something we could address by bringing Turnbull or Sorrow on and giving them some game time. Mm-hmm. That's probably the bad things about it. The good things about it is, we're scoring goals again.
Yeah.
Bain could have done better and Beaton could have done better, but the good thing is we're scoring goals again. Lenny's looking happy again. That's a good thing. It's 4-1, it's 3 points. We get the international break. Hopefully, after the international break, please God, there's no more COVID incidents or enforced absences. Hopefully, Big Julian's back. We'll regroup and kind of use this as a platform to build from.
Yeah, well, there's certainly a lot of talking points came out of the second half, and we'll go through it over the next half an hour or so. One of the first things that came up, and it happened almost right at the start of the second half, was the tackle from Devante Cole on Jeremy Frimpong. That is a horror tackle, and for me it's a red card every single day of the week.
That high, the ball's not there. That high, studs up into his thigh. The worrying thing was, I think Dallas was going to let it go until he thought Frimpong might actually be injured. A better blow for it. So in Dallas's mind, it wasn't even close to a red card. It was only just a foul, and then a yellow card on Frimpong staying down. A better blow for it. You're like, wait a minute here. Yeah. Your whistle should have, that should have been right there, blown and going, that's a red card. There's no doubt on it, is there?
Yeah, Danny, you see the foot, the studs come up and catch him basically thigh high. The foot should never be that high anywhere near a player, and I'm just amazed that he managed to walk away from it unscathed.
Thankfully he walked away, but as we saw when he came off and got replaced by Al Hamid, he was limping fairly heavily. Hopefully he's okay. The tackle that's obscene. For a professional footballer to do that to another professional footballer, it should never actually be the case. The last time I seen a tackle that high was Luke Shaw when he got his leg broke against PSV Eindhoven, and Frimpong went down very, very similarly. That hopefully will get reviewed by the SFA, because that is a horror challenge that could have ended very, very badly. Yeah,
and we don't want to touch too much on the referee's performance because we could go on for a while, but there was another one.
No, I think we should. I think we should, because there's 2 red cards in this game. Because Tony Watt should have been sent off for his tackle against Scott Brown.
Yeah.
And I think that the best time to talk about referees and how poor they are at times is when you've won a game 4-1. Because if you do it when you're getting hammered 2-0 or whatever, then it looks as though you're focusing on the negative and you're trying to make excuses. We won the game fair and square. Quite a few issues, I agree with Lawrence. It wasn't as convincing as the scoreline suggests. Still got massive concerns in the defence. but the refereeing was shocking. I mean, Frimpong, when you look at that, it brought back memories of Bowman against Tierney at Celtic Park.
Yeah.
Kind of if your leg is straight or if your heels get stuck in the turf, that's a career-threatening tackle. Terrible tackle. And the Brown Watt one, I had said during the game that they had been niggling at each other throughout the game, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. I think Tony Watt has developed into a much stronger looking player. He's a strong runner, and he's a big, strong attacking player now. I never seen that in his early game. But him and Brown were niggling. But that was a shocking tackle. That was 2 red cards.
Yeah.
Two red cards. And by the way, Robinson knew it, and that's why the 2 players were subbed off.
Oh, Watt came off straight away. But I mean, when you go back to the one we're speaking about, Devante Cole on Jeremy Frimpong, even Andy Walker says it was a red card. Do you know what I mean? So Walker's saying it's a red card. To me, he should have been off the park.
It studs up, there's no doubt. Even if he doesn't make contact, get in that high with your studs up. It's a possible red. Making contact should take any doubt out of it altogether. What's going through Dallas's mind at that point that he doesn't?
2 minutes into the second half, Lawrence, you and I were talking about the defence throughout the game. 2 minutes into the second half, set piece, cuts the defence wide open once again. I made a comment at half time, we need to get the defence sorted out. Best time to do it's when you've got a wee cushion, 2-goal cushion. That's when we need to make a couple of substitutions. A couple of comments came through thinking that was an absurd statement. It's not. We still need to get that sorted out. When are we going to get it sorted out? We bring on El Hamid, he shows it up. What's the first thing he does, Colin?
Oh, the crossover for the goal. I mean, we were talking about this before the game. I had to give praise to Frimpong at half time. He did well to set up Rogic for the second goal when he puts it across. But El Hamid going down the line, getting the crossover, get the ball lofted, get it into the air, and the jump from Elyounoussi was outstanding. He hung in the air for so long, and to put it beyond the goalkeeper. Danny, we made a wee joke about the goalkeeper. He just felt as if for some of the goals he took forever to get down to it, didn't he?
Slow motion.
He's a big unit, but again, if I'm going to start picking holes in the performance, I would also say that Bain was pretty slow to get down to the goal that Motherwell scored. 2 minutes into the second half, defence all over the place at a set piece. They cut through us again 59 minutes into the game. Brilliant bit of defensive play by Laxalt. They score again from a set piece in 71 minutes, and there was a couple of other examples. I still think that's a massive issue, and I'm delighted with the 4-1. It's brilliant to go into the international break with a victory, but we've got serious issues at the back. And what I actually thought was Ayer played a completely different game today, Colin.
Yeah.
In terms of what you would expect from him. Big sulky player, goes for a gallop and run with a ball at his feet. He done what would probably be described as a dirty work today that you would expect from the likes of Duffy, who was described as a no-nonsense defender when he came in. He's given us loads of nonsense, I keep saying that. But I was gutted to see Ayer down, injured. I'm just glad we're going into an international break and he's going to have time to actually recover for that. Yeah,
I don't think he'll go away now with Norway. Hopefully his injury's not too bad and we'll see him back, because it looks as if Julian will be back in and about the squad after the international break as well, so maybe we'll see our first choice partnership back in the centre halves. But yeah, you're spot on in what you're saying. I think there was a time in the first half when Ayer threw himself in front of the ball to stop the shot getting away. He didn't make that run forward. The biggest run forward from the 2 centre halves we had was when Beaton had it in the second half, and he drove about 40-50 yards forward. I think it almost culminated in a goal. So spot on. Ayer's adapted his game because of who he's playing alongside, and it's good to see that maturity from him.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he was, when you're looking at that defence, Colin, he was put under the cosh a fair bit, and that's because we were playing with 2 fullbacks so high up the pitch. That was the point I was making. You bring on El Hamid, you get a completely different player to Frimpong. You get an international right back who can also overlap. I mean, you've seen that with the goal. We've done that against St Johnstone, as you say, Colin, and it was a pinpoint cross. But let's talk for a wee while about Elyounoussi. I think credit where credit's due. He came off the other night, he looked pretty disappointed. He was lambasted for checking his phone, do a wee danger check out his pocket, you know what I mean? And he was lambasted for that, perhaps unfairly, to be honest with you. I know that everybody has got their own view on that, but that's the best performance. I mean, you've only got to go back to Lille when he gave us a performance like that, and he probably should have scored a hat-trick. And that's Elyounoussi we need to see more often.
Yeah, and what you see from Elyounoussi is what he's capable of and why Southampton paid £16 million for him. And we hope that he continues to do that throughout the season, because he is a massive attacking threat. We mentioned that the midfield needs to start creating and scoring more goals. You're missing the 15-20 goals a season you're getting out of James Forrest at the minute, and Elyounoussy's starting to step up and provide us that sort of level of support as well. So fantastic from him. He had a lot of critics to answer for something which, although it's a bad thing for him to have done, to be on his phone during a game, it wasn't the worst thing that happened about Thursday night, but he still stepped up and proved his critics wrong. And I just wonder if they'll pay as much attention to Eddie going to the toilet before he came on as what they did to Elyounoussi checking his phone. Do you know what I mean? I'm joking for anyone that's listening in, but fantastic performance from him, and let's see where it takes us from there.
I think there's a few comments coming in saying, listen, that was an excellent attacking display, just enjoy it. But I think when you've won a game, that's as important to actually pick holes in any of the bad performances. And I think as a defensive unit, it's not working. You know, absolutely no doubt. We're up against Motherwell here. If we're up against a European side, you see what happens on Thursday night. They can exploit the massive space behind the two fullbacks. Motherwell cut us open time and time again. They just didn't have that kind of, you know, the striker that we've probably seen for years at Motherwell. You know, gone from Dougie Arnott used to do it against us, right through Scott McDonald doing it against us. They don't have that, Motherwell, do they? But if they did have a decent striker, then we wouldn't be sitting here as comfortable. And it's interesting that that is the view, because I think if we've got that view, then you become a bit lax yourself, and that's when the rot can set in. I thought it was great to see Ajeti getting minutes. I thought he played really, really well, Colin. I don't think his game's all about the penalty box striker. I've mentioned in the past, Lawrence, a player you and Danny will remember well, is Marco Viduka. You know, the amount of work he did from the halfway line up to the 18-yard box was frightening, and linking up the play, and I think that's what Ajeti does so well.
Yeah, a bit quicker than Viduka though. I'd say over 10 yards, but definitely reminiscent of him. But the team's got problems. You looked at when Motherwell were bringing it even through the centre, from midfield onto our centre halves. The amount of times they more or less unchallenged to the edge of our box. It's defensively, we're still looking ropey. Hopefully we can get it sorted over the international break. Julian and Aya, if that's our first choice centre half partnership, hopefully that kind of provides a base. What's going to happen in defensive midfield position? Although Brown was playing further forward, I think he was quite a few mistakes in him today. They were lucky to get away, and you touched that if Motherwell had better strikers, it's not a 4-1.
No, absolutely. Brown made several mistakes and looked like he was dead on his feet. Fair enough. He lasted the game, but it was worrying. And as we have, like you said, Paul, defensive strategies need to be looked at and have to be ironed out. But I think as well, that spreads into Brown and Kalmack as well.
Yeah, it does.
You can't just blame the last four guys. You have to look at what Brown's doing, like the 3-yard pass that he just completely gave away, and Kalmack seems to kind of go for a challenge and then slow down and give whoever has the ball time to think, when it should just be chased down and under pressure like Christie did in the first half in order to get the first goal.
Mm-hmm. This was a classic game where we could have got, the last sub we could have had Sorrell and Turnbull in. Mm-hmm. We could have given them some time and went, right, shore this up, sit a bit deeper. Did we need the fourth goal? We could have gone, right, it's 3-1. Let's shore up. Let's get defensively more solid here. Mm-hmm. Let's use our subs a bit smarter.
See, when you look at the subs, Lawrence, and it's a subject we've spoken about time and time again on the podcast. We make the subs on 69 minutes today. I was calling for them at half time again, but 69 minutes in, Ajeti and Frimpong off for Edouard and Elhamed. Now, what resulted there was obviously Motherwell scored directly after that, a couple of minutes later. But it was the substitutions and what happened thereafter. I like to the fact that Motherwell actually pulled a goal back that saw a change in our approach in the second half. And I think that is a frustration at times, sitting until the 60th or the 70th minute before making the changes. But another shout out to Olivier Ncham. He's a player who divides opinion. I don't think anybody would deny that technically he's an excellent footballer. He's technically gifted. But there's an inconsistency about his play at times. I think you see performances sometimes in Europe that would be described as excellent against domestic performances that are really poor. and he's lost his place. I mean, he was a first pick for several weeks there. He's come on, and he has given us that cushion, Lawrence. I mean, we didn't know what kind of performance we were going to get, Colin. We were talking about that just before he came on. You predicted that he was going to score.
The Nostradamus strikes again. I nearly got the scoreline right as well.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't, to be honest with you.
I'm as well, but he played in a more attacking role when he came on. He came on for Rogic, and almost on the anniversary of his goal that won us the tie over in Lazio, he scores again. I mean, this is what he can do. We just need to see a lot more of it from him. It was why he got dropped, because his performances weren't up to the standard that he's set himself. But yeah, good for him to come off the bench to get a goal. Good link up with Edward as well. Look, this is our bread and butter. We really need to perform well in the league. 10 is everything to a lot of Celtic fans, if not all Celtic fans. And over the last few weeks, we've just been wanting to get the points on the board. And today we got the 3 points. We scored a couple of goals, important for the goal difference as well. You'd want to be playing again on Wednesday night if you had the chance. We've now got to wait 2 weeks. But important 3 points on the board, and whether it's papering over the cracks or whether it's a turning point, it's just good to have them points, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we needed the result today. We needed a win first and foremost. The goals help. Listen, you're saying what we played again on Wednesday night. I'm actually happy that we've got the break and that Julian's going to be coming back, because I think defensively we need to sort something out, because it's not working right. But we're getting, whether it's a long throw, whether it's a free kick, into the heart of our defence just seems so powder puff, so weak at the moment. That there's just something not right about it.
Let's have we talk about that then, because after the international break, as you say, we are expecting to see Julian coming back. I would hope, although we haven't had an update on the Ayer injury, that it might just be a strain, that he'll be back, training within 7 to 10 days. And of course we've got Duffy there. We have Beaton, who I think has been a very able replacement. We have Al Hamid, who for me is just very cool. Doesn't make too many mistakes. Unfortunately, he did against Ferencváros, or he didn't defend the way we would have expected. But to have the full complement of defenders at your disposal, how do you use that? How do you shape up? And which players do you actually choose? I'm going to ask you first, Colin, because it's quite clear to me that the big issues are issues within the defence. I mean, you look at that today, some of the forward play was excellent. I mean, Tom Rogic was, again, rolling back the years at times with some of his play. I mean, when he's on form, he can make things happen. He's a creative force in the Celtic side. But defensively, it's still big, massive question marks for me. So once we come back from international break, you're going to be looking at all players fit. Give me a defence. Obviously, start off with the goalie.
I think Barkas come back into the side now. I think he's had that breakout he needed. I'm not sure if he's going away with Greece or not, but he's had the time working with Stevie Woods, who actually scouted him out personally and chose him. So that for me will hopefully see a bit of return to the form that we know he can bring. So he'll quietly make his way back into the side. I think Scott Bain will drop out. I'd like to see El Hamid at right back. I'd like to see him actually get a full run at right back, because to me he offers that more defensive option, can still go forward, and can still put in a fantastic cross like he did today. I'd probably go with Ayer, and if he's back fit, Julian. They play well together. They've got that partnership. They're not trying to build that up. So I would go with that, and at the minute there's no way you're dropping Lassalt.
Ayer and Julian, again, talking of a partnership. That was a partnership we had when everybody was screaming for a new centre half, when Shane Duffy comes in. Is it a case sometimes, Colin, if football fans look at players who aren't playing as better than they were when they were playing? Because we were screaming for Duffy when Ayer and Julian were playing together against Kilmarnock.
I think that we had this obsession of getting back to the 3-5-2 because it worked so well in the second half of last season, and we wanted to get to that position. But I think looking at the players that we've got and looking at the way that we play, the 4-2-3-1 certainly suited us over the last few weeks when we reverted back to it. Having the three at the back really left us exposed, having the two wing backs there as well. So if you're going to play the four at the back, for me it has to be Elhamed, Ayer, Julian and Lassault.
What about yourself, Danny? What's your thoughts once we've got everybody fit after international break? Let's clear the decks. What's your defence?
I agree with Colin there to a certain extent, that I'd like to see Elhamed getting a full shot at right back, but I'd also like to see Taylor come in back at left back, because as much as people were complaining about him, I still think that he has quite a solidness to him, and I think he does have the ability to link up with Laxalt if he was in the left midfield. And if we were playing a 4-4-2, I think it would work out much better.
I mean, the thing with Taylor, again, it's one of these ones I call for it at half time as well, Danny, but I mean, he was under a lot of criticism, under a lot of scrutiny when he was playing every week. I think that if you take away the offensive nature of the game, which, you know, you give that to Laxalt, let him concentrate as being a defender. You know, let him concentrate in that position, and that obviously will contribute to something that's a wee bit more solid at the back. And I don't disagree with you, Colin, regarding Elhamed. I rate Frimpong highly, but you know, in terms of his defensive, even his naivety, when you look at his positional play, sometimes quite a few times today we said that, didn't we? Where is he? Lawrence, how would you line up once we get back from the international break at the back?
Definitely Barkas and goals. I'd play Diego at left back, although I really like Taylor. I think Diego is just a class of player that I think he can play that left back position and push forward all the way. At right back, we talk about we need to develop players and give them a route to the first team. So I'm not too fussed if it's Frimpong or Elhamed, because Frimpong needs to play to develop if he's ever going to become a right back. I don't think he is. Obviously Celtic think he is because we keep playing him there. So if we're going to develop the boy, he's going to need to play. But either or for me, I'd have Julian and Ayer, and I'd drop Scott Brown for Beaton, so that Beaton can drop back and make a three at the back that will allow you to play Frimpong and Diego and push forward. So it allows you to change your formation quicker, because I think Brown's not got the pace that he's dropping back and making that third man. He doesn't know, Beaton having played centre half and defensive mid, he's a more natural guy to drop back, make the three at the back, allow the two full backs to push on. Whether that two full backs are Diego and Elhamed or Diego and Frimpong, at least it gives us the flexibility to do that.
I think by playing Beaton in the sort of Scott Brown role as well, what it does offer you is it gives Ayer the chance to go forward like he loves to do, and he's created a lot of chances by doing that, by making those surging runs forward, and Beaton sort of slots in the role behind him because he's played in that position before. It means you're not relying on Ayer making a 50-yard run forward to make a 50-yard run back. He can get back, we can get the shape together, and they can swap back once we've got the ball back. So I agree. I think if you are going to rest Scott Brown this season, for me I think Beaton is a good replacement to slot in there.
So that's interesting, because again, you know, after every game that Turnbull doesn't play, we get loads of comments about when is this boy going to get a game, what has to happen for him to get a game. And it's interesting that Beaton was to move position, obviously back to his natural midfield position, because he's been getting the games. So that's a big shout coming in from Lawrence, but also Jungle Lion on the comments, and echoed by Colin, who's a big Beaton fan, as we all know. Now, after our chat, our analysis of the game, Danny Kelly's going to play us out with a couple of tunes, which is brilliant of him to come along with his acoustic. And if you haven't already watched it, we had a full acoustic session on Friday night at A State of Mind Studios. It was recorded a wee while ago, but that's up. Edgar Summertime Jones in session. A State of Mind Unplugged, first of many sessions of that type. If you are a budding musician, you want to take part in something like that, give us a shout, because we're always looking for talented musicians. And
if I know anybody, I'll let them know.
Danny, you do that. You do that. Now, I mean, again, we were talking, all the talk leading up to this game was around Neil Lennon, and talking about the changing culture, and, you know, players unhappy and unrest at the club. What happens after you go out and you win comfortably enough against Motherwell and you get the points on the board? Does that change people's views? Is it basically just some points in the bank, but we need to see what happens after the international break? Has it bought him a wee bit of time, Colin?
I mean, probably it has now. I mean, if he was going to go, for me, they'd probably had to have left on Friday morning after that result. If they were going to give him this game, he would have had to have lost this game to go. So Are we kind of kicking the ball down the road a bit more with Lennon? Is it going to be a turning point? We won't actually know until the next game. So he's going to get the next game at least. If you can start getting yourselves on a run, if we can start putting the points on the board, start putting the pressure on Rangers again, let's actually show how we won those last 9 league titles. Let's show the winning capability that we've got. So
this international break, Colin, is vital for Neil Lennon. It's vital for this season because we've seen what happened in the last international break, right? And then we're trying to regroup for the game against Rangers, and we're missing people through illness. This is vital because, let's not forget that it was a coronavirus breeding ground the last time, wasn't it? The international game. Now, if we come back in the same position as we did the last time, that spells massive danger for Celtic and Neil Lennon. This is vital for the way the season's going to go. So yeah, absolutely. We don't know how many people are going to be available. I'm hoping that we just get through the next 10 days or so with absolutely no casualties in respect to the virus.
Yeah, definitely. I just hope that we all come back fighting fit, ready to go for the next game, and let's see if it is actually a turning point or whether it's just as I'm seeing some people saying in the comments, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. We hope it's not. We've had a good result today, 3 points in the bag, pressure's on them now. Let's just take it from there, 1 step at a time.
Hoping for Adrian Sprott today, aren't we? Is that before your time?
Probably before my time.
Sorry, mate. Aki's player scored against Rangers in the 80s.
Oh, I do.
Adrian Sprott.
Yeah, I remember that. Aye, that was a 1980s reference there. It's obviously going to go over Colin's head. Danny, get yourself ready for the first song of this afternoon. The rest of the gentlemen will be leaving the broadcast, starting with you, Colin. Thank you for joining us on a Celtic State of Mind, sir.
Yep, thank you very much. And remember, you can catch the Football Insomniac podcast.
Bye. And Lawrence is going to leave Danny to get himself set up. Danny, what's the first song you're going to play?
Celtic. That's the team for me.
It certainly is a team for me.
And it's Celtic, that's the team for me. Celtic, on to victory. They're the finest team in Scotland, I hope you will agree. We'll never give up till we win the cup in the Scottish Football League. They come from Bonnie, Scotland, they come from County Cork, they come from dear old Donegal, and even from New York. From every street in Glasgow, they proudly make their way to a place called dear old Paradise, and this is what they say. Oh, it's Celtic, that's the team for me. Celtic, on to victory. They're the finest team in Scotland, I'm sure you will agree. We'll never give up till we win the cup in the Scottish Football League. There's Fallon, Young and Gale, we proudly wear the green. There's Clark, McNeil and Kennedy, the best has ever been. Jim Johnson, Murdoch, Chalmers, John Devers and John Hughes, and 60,000 Celtic fans who proudly shout the news. Oh, it's Celtic, that's the team for me. Celtic, on to victory. They're the finest team in Scotland, I'm sure you will agree. We'll never give up till we win the cup in the Scottish Football League. We'll never give up till we win the cup in the Scottish Football League. Oh, hail, the Celts are here. What the hell do we care? What the hell do we care? Hail, the Celts are here. What the hell do we care now? For it's a grand old team to play for, and it's a grand old team to see. And if you know your history, it's enough to make your hearts grow sad. God bless them, we don't care what the animals say. What the hell do we care? For we only know that there's gonna be a show, and the Glasgow Celtic will be there. They're the best damn team coming home to rest in paradise.